Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Lesbian Talk. A talk with lesbians.
It's us, lesbians, on the couch, as you can clearly hear.
Leather couch.
Our couch is really schwanky. We got it at a Foyle Hospice charity shop, and it's like green leather. Like, it looks like it belongs to like a gentleman's club in London in like 1920s. And it has wood parts and it has drawers and it's really schwanky. My father-in-law says it looks like Downton Abbey.
Which goes really well with the Amiga loading screen wallpaper and absolutely nothing else being quote-unquote classy.
Yeah, our walls are like a collection of things, but it's our flat, goddamn. Oh yeah, we moved to a flat.
Yeah.
If you didn't know that, that's where we are. That's also why you haven't heard much from us, because it's taken 3 weeks to get internet set up, but allegedly Virgin's coming on Saturday.
Yeah. Like, you've heard little bits from me because I uploaded a couple of videos, but literally I'm only able to use the internet if I walk half an hour to the Minion's house or I go back to my parents' house or something. So.
And I only use the internet at uni.
That's why right now the Flubs are Ravenous have been for patron only for about 4 days.
And everyone's like, no, I want to see them. Why not me?
Well, after Saturday, hopefully we'll have regular internet again.
Yeah. Which will be nice, and unlimited cap. We don't have a monthly cap.
And I'll finally be able to book Ravenous a slot on Channel Awesome.
Yeah, our stuff for Channel Awesome is gonna be like at the end of the month. Hopefully, they won't kill us.
Oh no! Don't kill us, Channel Awesome. You're awesome. Please, don't kill us. Please.
Doug and Rob like show up at our door like dressed like ninjas.
They'll not get in because their doorbell doesn't work.
Well, they'll get someone else to let them in the building, like the Greek guy that lives above us. And then they'll be like, open up in there, we know you're in there, and we'll both be out, like, you'll be at the pound shop and I'll be at uni book at home, and be like, Doug and Rob, why are you here dressed like ninjas? And they're like, we're here to assassinate you. And I'm like, oh.
We'll never make any videos for Channel Awesome if you do that.
They're like, well, do you want some Quality Street? We've got a whole bunch. Quality Streets are kind of sweet.
On the plus side, I've been working on videos, so I got the next episode of Hagen is almost finished. The next one after that, I've got half my voiceovers done. The one after that, I'm working on preliminary editing for it. And, I'm doing it in the wrong order. So there's that, and whenever there's a guy that lives near us who started watching films for notes with me, because unlike everyone else, actually enjoys it. So I've been waiting to run into him so we can watch some notes taken films, so I can do some more writing.
You might see him on Friday.
I'm hoping so, because I want to get back
because Teddy the Minion runs a board game night, and now that I'm usually working Friday morning instead of closing on Friday nights, we've been going to that.
So I'm really wanting to get to writing again.
See, you've done all this stuff. I ran an experiment and wrote an experimental cognitive paper.
It's much more impressive than what I did.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound as nice.
No, nothing sounds as nice as the echo in this thing. You hear this reverberation, guys?
See, apparently it's not on my voice, so apparently I had the best acoustics of voice for things.
Teddy said several times while filming that I have a weird voice that sort of makes reverberation sounds happen.
Maybe you have that thing going on where that Himalayan throat singing that you're producing like more than one noise at a time.
I have sometimes heard in my voice several different noises at once, yes. Not deliberately, though.
Although that singing sounds kind of creepy and scary.
But, yeah, the flat...
no offense at the Himalayas.
This place has literally nowhere that has good voiceover places, because everything's made of wood, and...
It's not really wood. It's like wood covering. It's like wood linoleum.
So it's... Basically, for my voiceover Hagen stuff, I've got to go off to other places to do the voiceovers, and this one, we're just having to deal with whatever imperfections we've got right now in this room.
We'll figure something out eventually.
Because the best place to record in this place is actually in the hall right next to the main door, and I'm not doing any voiceovers there just because people will wonder what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. But I like the shower, because it's lovely, and the water pressure is even and consistent, and the temperature is consistent. It's not like the misery shower, which just kind of like drool water on you for a while, and then alternate between freezing and scalding. So this is just beautiful and lovely, and every morning I jump up dancing and singing. Actually, I don't, but...
Omega's obsessed.
You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean. It's an advert for Zest soap.
Okay.
Listen, you're always going on about adverts like the potato dust aliens.
Yeah, smash.
Yeah, apparently there's like a kind of instant potato made of dust, and apparently it was marketed by aliens, but I was expected to know this.
Alien robots?
No, last week I was expected to know this when we were waiting in the takeaway, and I was like, what are you even talking about?
Alien robots, there's a difference.
Oh, I'm sorry. Or like,
Man, there's a moose loose about this hoose.
Yeah, like I have no idea what that means.
You know when you can
like
tango.
I don't know who the Milky Bar Kid is. I know that there is one.
Milky Bar,
But I don't like
me.
I don't like Milky Bar because it's white chocolate. I don't really care for white chocolate because it's not chocolate. The only white chocolate I like are the vanilla mice.
I like some armadillos.
What's that?
That's an old dime bar I've heard.
I like Dime Bar.
It's like, this dime bar is soft on the outside but crunchy on the inside. And do you like this new dime bar? And he's like, no, I like some armadillos. They're crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside. Armadillos. And then
Are armadillos supposed to be like another kind of snack, or was he literally talking about biting an animal?
Animal.
Because that's kind of upsetting.
He preferred armadillos to dime bars. And then the guy was like, you're a bit thick, aren't you? And he's like, yes, armadillos.
I see.
I referenced this
That's
in my...
problematic.
I referenced that advert in my Big Money Rustlers review.
Problematic. Yeah, and I didn't know what you were talking about then either. I just tried to block out the Big Money Rustlers, from my life. You know that... Okay, so... Fair play to her and the Rap Critic, but she was like, oh, watch Big Money Rustlers because I need extra notes. I'm like, alright, I like that one.
The more notes you get for a movie review, the easier it is to script, and generally the better the episode is.
I was like, okay, I liked that one ICP song, in 1998. Sure, I guess so. And I hate you forever now because I had to fucking watch that movie. Yo, where's my money?
Fucking filmmaking, how does that work?
Where's my money? Oh my god, it was so
Where's my
bad.
motherfucking money?
That was more annoying than Kevin Strange. I mean, no offense, Kevin Strange, but, yeah.
Nixon and Hogan were based on the two guys who hang around with the villain in the ICP films.
Why does it not surprise me? The only thing that
Played by
pisses me off
Twisted.
about
That's who
Nixon,
the inspiration for Nixon and Hogan was.
The thing that pissed me off about Nixon and Hogan, I mean, no offense to Kevin Strange, because LC had him on his show once, and he seemed like a nice enough guy, but, it really annoyed me that they're always talking about smoking weed, but never actually smoke any weed.
Well, they do okay. They did in Dead shit.
Yeah, but...
In universe, they're smoking it, but in reality, that's not what they're doing.
I understand that, you can't actually get high during a production because there's a lot of things that you can do.
There was a deleted scene from Evil Dead, because these guys, when they were filming the first one in the 70s, they decided to film the scene where they were getting high. They're like, okay, they're getting high in this thing, they're in the cabin, let's film it while actually getting high. That'll make it realistic. It was
really bad, wasn't it?
All the takes were terrible, and they wasted an entire day doing that, and they decided to drop the scene.
Yeah.
Rather than refilm it.
No, it just frustrated me, because I'm like, they're like, I think the one they're trying all these different ways to get high, and I'm like, it's just, I don't know, it so annoys me. Just smoke. Annoying me.
Are you talking about the Nixon Hogan short film Butt Hash?
No, it's the one, the Chris's one that they spent the entire time looking for weed and never actually get any.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that. And it just frustrated me. I'm just like, stop it. Just get a friend. I mean, Jesus Christ. That had nothing to do with anything. We're so
Hey, guys, about the
scattered.
subject of Kevin Strange. The last script, Hagen review script I wrote, I'm not sure when this is going to be done, but it was Colonel Kill Motherfuckers, which is another Kevin Strange film. And I was just reminded about the time when I locked Owen Citizen in a room and made him watch Colonel Kill Motherfuckers by Kevin Strange.
You didn't lock him in a room. He was in the room with the rest of us.
And he was not happy.
It wasn't the room as I recall, didn't he just leave?
No, the engineer left.
Oh, okay.
Kyle stayed the entire time, I think.
I was just annoyed because I wanted everyone to go so we could drink. I was like, go away, I've had it. They were up till 4 a.m. and it was raining and cold and miserable, and I hated everyone in the world by the time that day was over. I was like, just go away, I've had it with everyone.
It was a bit of a rough day. But Colonel Kill Motherfuckers being watched by Owen Citizen. I sent him my copy of Cockhammer. I want him to... I don't know if he ever watched it, but I know it appeared in the background of a couple of his episodes.
Ask him about it. Just tweet at him and be like, hey.
Come on, dude. Review that. Even if we're on April Fools. Cockhammer. Be great.
Gay. That's what I have to say. No, I'm just freaking out. No, see, the thing is that this is going to be a very disjointed episode because everything is going on in our lives. The election is exploding. I'm going to try to get this on YouTube tomorrow. I don't know when this will go up on Channel Awesome. Because my login to the site is tied to Chrome, which is on my desktop, which I can't use right now. Yeah. I mean, I can't use Chrome because I can't connect. So this will probably go on Channel Awesome sometime next week. But so we're about 3 weeks minus 1 day from the election, and that's all that I'm hearing about. And then today, Steve Silverman, which you should totally follow Steve Silverman on Twitter. He's gay. He's a writer for Wired. He wrote a really fantastic book called Neurotribes. It's about kind of the history of and conceptualizing modern autism. And he's just a really great guy. And he tweeted, I retweet him a lot, by the way. So if you can't find him on Twitter, just go to my feed and I'll have tweeted him at some point. But he had retweeted an article, I think by Daily Beast today, about how basically, like, oh, you think that, you know, LGBT issues are over because we have gay marriage? Oh no, if Trump and Pence get in, here's all the horrible things that will happen. Like, trans people will cease to be a thing. Not like every transgender person will, like, suddenly disappear, but, like, his kind of people, Trump and Pence, don't really think that there's a designation there. So, like, any small, like, how did he put it? He put it something like, you know, it can't even turn back the clock on trans rights because the clock hasn't even started yet. Like, a lot of the stuff would turn back the clock on gay rights, but, like, really, really horrifying stuff. And so, like, it worries me, especially because where we live here, it's not exactly, well, I guess it's a wee bit liberal. It's not very.
It's a bit like, Northern Ireland is a lot like Alabama. It's not like small town Alabama, it's like big town Alabama, but there's no state government, so everything's controlled by the federal government. So, the laws are generally in place, but a lot of the people aren't too into it. Yeah. That's a good way to describe Northern Ireland.
Did I tell you about the mystery of the gay mugs?
What?
No, I didn't tell you. Okay, so I work at a shop, and we have a stationery section. We also sell some gifty stuff. So, there's a little back corridor where the lift is that we all keep our water back there, so you nip. I'm sorry, I got a text. So you nip back there sometimes to, like, you know, get a drink of water or check your phone or something like that. So I just got a drink of water, and I came out, and this woman's like, oh, excuse me, I need your help. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That's just I'm getting a text. So, oh, you know what it is? It's, one of my professors is uploading things to Blackboard. So you might hear that again. Because she loves to cram articles in the Blackboard. But anyway, so I was like, oh, I can help you. She's like, okay, you see this mug set? I was like, yeah. She's like, well, I want to get one, but I need the right one. And I was like, okay. And it said, Mr. and Mr. And I was like, huh. And the other one said Mr. and Mr. And then there was one that said Miss and Miss. And I was like, And she's like, because I need, like, a Mr. and a Miss. Like, I think she thought that we boxed them up wrong. And, like, I was like, oh, gee, well, I didn't know how to say it, like, I wanted to not be offensive. I was like, oh, I don't know if, you know, we'll have, because we have, seem to be, I don't know, we have, like, heterosexual ones, or, like, and then...
So these mugs were deliberately put out there to be gay mugs?
I think so. Well, yeah, so you're getting ahead of me. Okay. So then Fiona, who works in stationery, came up from the left. I was like, oh, do we have these other sets of these? She's like, yeah, they're on the gift wall. I'm like, oh, I don't mean this the wrong way, but do we have not gay ones? And the woman was like, oh, these are gay ones. I didn't even think of that. And Fiona was like, I don't know, let's go check. And we only had Mr. and Miss and Miss and Miss. And she's like, oh, I really wanted to get this. I'm like, well, I don't see. So I just, like, had her
get a Mr. and Mr. and then just add an S to one of the.
No, so I got two gay ones and I heterosexualized them. So I split up two gay couples and to make two heterosexual ones. But the one that she didn't take, the box was broken anyway, so I gave it to stationery. And then so I asked Fiona, and she's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't. That's really weird. Because, like, the couple in the picture on the box were heterosexual. So like, we're like, of course, there's got to be a heterosexual one. But then we're like, did someone, like, mix them up for a joke? Or, so I was like, it's the mystery of the gay mugs. And then, so Mary, the supervisor for stationery, the next day, and I'm like, the gay mug mystery. And she says, what are you talking about? So I told her the whole long story. She said, well, let's just scan it on the till. I'm like, aye. And it does come up Mr., Mr., and Miss, Miss. So we can only assume that they sent us all three, but the heterosexual one's still out. And that's the mystery of the gay mugs.
Okay.
Aye. Aren't you glad you're listening to our podcast? Although, no, some people are okay. Like, I volunteer for victim support, and there's a woman that I work with quite a lot, another volunteer, and she figured out that she knew my father-in-law because he's a retired GP, and she's like, oh, he used to be my GP. He's like, oh, so you married his son? And I'm like, no, I married one of his daughters. Like, you know, not knowing what to expect. And she goes, oh, my boy's gay too. He's in a relationship with a Chinese nurse. And I was like, okay. And she's like, oh, this woman is great. I love her to death. She goes, you should hear him when he gets drunk because he teases his boyfriend and says, oh, I'm going to have your Chinese babies. And I was like, what an interesting thing to tell someone that you've only known for a little bit.
Okay.
So that's the state of gay in Derry right now.
And I warned her about this, but I'd be making Omega watching far more crap movies than she was prepared for.
Well, I usually have Mythbusters or forensic television from the 90s on YouTube while I do something else.
Yeah, but whenever you live with me, crap films happen. Because
they rain from the sky.
On average, I try to watch 1 or 2 new films a day, simply so I can, for either adding to my collection, for selling on because it's not interesting enough, or for adding to my review pile. I've got so many films that I've got to, watch at that sort of rate. Otherwise, it grows exponentially. Especially thanks to the fact that we now live near to a pound shop, and they generally have a lot of cheap DVDs. So
I got a text today while I was at uni. They have Poundland has Troll Hunter on Blu-ray for £1. Do you want it? And I was like, okay, if you want, I'm sure. I think I said, okay, honey. And then you were like, just to clarify when I got home, I wasn't offering to buy it for you. I was meaning that you could go buy it. And I was like, oh.
Well, yeah, do you want it? As in, I was asking you as a question, do you want you want it? As in,
not that I would go to the pound shop on my own and get it for £1. Like, I thought
it's
you
Blu-ray, so it's probably more expensive.
Yeah, well, not even that. So, yeah, like, I thought you meant, should I get it? Because usually when you say, do you want it, what you're really saying is, should we do something?
No, I didn't mean it in that way.
Like, do you want
I'm pretty sure I have a copy of Troll Hunter on DVD anyway.
I think that you do.
But we've watched all sorts of crazy movies, which, possibly to create some extra money, we should vlog after watching crazy movies. Might be an idea. But last night we watched Brian Usner's Amphibious, which was about a fucking giant supernatural sea scorpion, so it's not actually technically amphibious, probably.
Well, the creature design was pretty good.
Yeah, Brian Usner is usually a safe pair of hands when it comes to schlock, and
I just didn't like
that one's no different.
Anyone in it. And
that was your first bit of Usner. You've now been using it.
That sounds dirty.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Next, you'll be watching Faust of the Damned, or my Blu-ray copy of Bride of Reanimator, which was actually given to me by Stuart Ashens.
Stuart Ashens, the YouTube sensation.
Sorry, Stuart Ashen, aka Ashens. Yeah, he occasionally sends me DVDs of Blu-rays. We don't actually. I talk to him occasionally on Twitter, but that's about it. But he sometimes sends me Blu-rays, and it's like
I don't have friends that send me Blu-rays. Although I do have a friend that bought me a plasma ball.
Oh yeah, Robin did. Robin crashed the night and bought us a plasma ball for the house because that's important.
Well, there was one in the background of Neverending Story because a patron requested we do a backseat critique on it. I was like, oh, I used to have one and then it broke. And he was like, oh, I'll buy you one. I was like, no, you don't have to do that. And they were like, no, I'm staying here. I'll buy one for you. That's my Robin impersonation. I think it was a pretty good one.
Nope, terrible.
No. But then, so I thought it was like a little wee one because they were like, oh look, it's a USB hub. And I'm like, that's grand. And then my brother-in-law came over, he's like, a package came for you, and I'm like, I didn't get anything. Like, last thing I got was a textbook, and it was this big, huge plasma ball. And I was like, did you get this? And you're like, that's the one Robin got. And I was like, oh. Yep. So we put it up.
And we also watched Survival of the Dragon, because I walked into a second-hand place, and I came out with about 5 kung fu movies.
One of which I'd seen, which surprised you.
Invincible Obsessed Swordsman, which you haven't watched yet.
No, it was Invincible Obsessed Fighter.
No, we haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah, because we ended up borrowing it getting it on VHS from Family Video in Wallingford, this back in the day. Me and a whole bunch of my friends, and We got a whole bunch of takeaway. This was like a way you just like did nothing of any use. You just like a Saturday night, like drink a whole bunch, smoke a whole bunch, just be crazy. And we watched Invincible Obsessed Fighter, where the aspect ratio was so bad that like literally about 1/4 of the action was taking place outside of the physical part of the screen because it just like went on.
That's like The Dragon Lives Again. And you weren't involved in this, but a couple of days ago I watched Nazi Vengeance, starring Julian Glover, aka Grandmeister Pycelle from Game of Thrones. Otherwise, also played Richard the Lionheart and Count Scarleone in Doctor Who, and was Walter Donovan, the villain in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Well, goddamn.
Yeah.
Did the Nazis get vengeance?
Or
was people getting vengeance on the Nazis?
This one's a bit weird because it's a revenge slasher type film about crazy guy in a rural thing, but there's reincarnation involved. So he's murdering one by one and torturing and murdering the reincarnations of the Nazis who killed his family in the war.
I find issue with that because here's the thing, is like if you get reincarnated, okay, going by what I'm thinking is Eastern tradition, if you get reincarnated, if you have a good life and then you die, you go up on the ladder until you get to like Cow or Bada Vista or something like that. Well, that's like Hinduism anyway. But then if you do bad, you go down, you know.
Until you end up as Donald Trump.
Yeah. But then the thing is though that like it takes you a while to realize that you're being punished for a previous karma, so you can accrue good karma and do through good deeds. But the thing is, though, that like the person who has the soul that's being reincarnated technically is a separate entity from the soul. I mean, if we're looking at this like in a dualistic kind of way, so it's kind of like the guy it's not fair for him to go and kill the people who bear the Nazi souls, because they might be, again, if we're looking at this from an Eastern point of view, they might be doing good. Even if they don't remember their past life of evil, they're doing good to accrue good karma. Maybe they feel driven to do so.
Well, yeah, the Nazis were totally, the people who were reincarnated Nazis, they were totally blameless. They were like just four friends who were like, la da da, let's go on holiday, la da da. But
us with our Nazi souls.
Well, they thought one of them was reincarnated as a Nazi, and then they found out the twist is all of them were, and they were the unit.
How do you suspect that?
Right. Hypnotic regression and whatnot.
You know what that's like? You know what that reminds me of? Back in the day when I first started at Barnes & Noble, I was shelving in kids, and this is when we had a series called the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen Mysteries, and it was one of the Olsen twins book series, and there was about like 100 of these. And I just read the back of one, and it was like, it took place at a flower shop, and I did so many double and triple takes, I actually had to go and find another coworker to read this aloud to, and see their reaction, because the thing was that there was someone who was causing sabotage at a flower show. Okay, that's your usual kid mystery kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know? And the blurb on the back ended with the phrase, "All signs point to a unicorn." Now, I would have trouble finding one sign that would point to a unicorn.
Yeah.
Let alone all signs pointing to a unicorn.
Apart from literally everything else, how would the signs point to a unicorn and not instead just point to a horse?
I don't know.
Unless you had photos.
I did, or there was CCTV footage.
Yeah, but then still, Occam's razor suggests someone glued something to a horse.
Aye. But then, so now that's going to be like an immortal phrase now. They were starting to suspect that at least one of them was a reincarnated Nazi.
But the thing about, you were talking about the issue, the moral issue with the old guy torturing the people.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I don't see it as any different than the thing about karma, because it's still a reincarnated soul in a new body is getting bad things happen to them as a way to accrue good karma. I don't see the difference. Either both are okay or both are not okay.
No, because I think the punishment itself is what you're born as. Like, so if you were like a rich man who like was a real dick, right? You're just a horrible, horrible person, and then you'd be punished maybe by being born again as a human, but as like a poor person, or a leper, or like the child of a prostitute or something. So the punishment itself was your birth. I was being born as that.
You're talking about issues after birth.
Yeah. So your punishment was being born as that, and not being born as like a dog or a cow or something that's higher up on the karmatic scale.
Okay, not quite the same as my issue. Still not too fond of it,
I
but
think,
okay.
If anyone's listening who is actually Buddhist or Eastern Buddhist or actually Hindu, and I'm getting that wrong, please comment, because that's just what I remember from one book I read a long time ago.
But Nazi vengeance, you've got that sort of stuff happens, and then near the end you find the twist that they're all Nazis, and it's like, oh my god, we're all Nazis. But then after they kill the old man and they escape,
Nazis, my god.
One of them's dead, another one was like blowtorch to the face and everything, and she's got all terrible burns. And then they put this really bizarre little stinger at the end where the one, she's not even one of the main characters, she's like a tertiary character, and she's got all these burns in her face because she was tortured for half the film by the guy. And then she goes to she just suddenly is healed, although she's still got the burns because that doesn't completely go away. And she's at a job interview. And then
it says here on your CV that you're a Nazi. Could you elaborate?
She just does this job interview. And it's not even like sit up. She's like, oh, here we are, job interview suddenly. And she just does this spiel about why she's good for the team. And then, shakes hands and leaves the room. And then we see the guy who's interested in hiring her has a Nazi symbol carved onto his neck where you can fucking see it over the suit. So the implication is this actual Nazi, because he's really old, this actual Nazi from World War II recognizes one of his old friends who has now been reincarnated as a...
And wants to give her a job in HR?
Yes, as a 20-something blonde woman, and wants to give her a job. And this company is perfectly fine with having this elderly German with a fucking swastika scar on his neck. And it's not even tiny and subtle. It's the size of your fucking hand.
Oh, well, Hans.
Oh, yes, he just killed some Jews. It's fine.
Why is everyone else in the American company German?
It was an English film.
Oh, okay.
But...
Well, I can't even do that.
Apparently this film decided it's got its, killer concept.
Are you a Nazi, Hans? Because that's the only English accent I can do, because it's the English accent of a coworker of mine.
They had this shocking twist, and then in the end they're like another episode. I think this is supposed to be a sequel hook, but it raises so many questions.
Corporate Nazis.
Yeah, who can detect reincarnation. I'm guessing by smell. And the reason...
You smell like bratwurst.
The reason this old man, Englishman, knew that they were all Nazis was because after his family had died in World War II, and he was all like, I'm a good British soldier in World War II, la 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 la. And then after the Nazis were killed and his family were dead, then he was like, okay, I'm going to pray to God so I can, get vengeance. Even though the people who killed his family are fucking dead. And then, when God didn't give him vengeance because, again, they were dead.
God's like, I did all I could. I don't know what to tell you.
At least I think they were dead. Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention and they actually died after the war, but I think they were killed in World War II. So they're all like, oh, they're dead. Then he decides he's going to pray to Satan to get vengeance. And so Satan gives him access to this record of reincarnation. So he finds out who has been reincarnated as this thing.
And wait a second, reincarnation is not any kind of Christian.
And then he doesn't even go to find the people who are reincarnated. He waits for them to somehow come to him. I think he does spells to give them this guy dreams. So someone else does sleep sort of hypnosis with him. And then they decide to go to this place that he sees in his dreams. And then he gets to kill them. It's like, this is not the way a sensible person goes about this.
But reincarnation is not any part of the Judeo-Christian thing.
I know.
The devil's like, don't worry. I've reincarnated them for you special.
No, everyone got reincarnated in it, according to that. Oh. But the devil, okay, they're reincarnated about 200 miles away. Maybe will I go off and kill them? No, I'll wait till I get really old.
Was this in Germany or England?
England. They died in England. They parachuted in or something.
Okay.
But will I go in there and kill them while I'm still 60-ish? And kill them as children? No. I will wait until I'm 80 and they're 20-ish, and then I will get the devil to give one of them visions, so then they will investigate this and they will decide they were reincarnated, and then they will do some research themselves. They will come to my village and then I will kill them.
The best laid plans of mice and old men do often go astray.
It's like, Jesus Christ. That's a special type. And then on top of that, you've got the old man, you got the old man Nazi who can smell reincarnation. It's like, I almost want a sequel. I want to see what the fuck they're going to do next. I want to see the sequel. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing there's going to be a stripper who's going to be revealed to be Stalin.
That'd be great. It'd be fantastic.
She comes in at the end, naked with a giant mustache painted on.
And you know what she says? Fuck me for the revolution.
And she's like, quit Stalin and die.
That's
It would be
terrible.
so awesome.
That's like Hobo with a Shotgun territory.
Hope with a Shotgun is amazing.
But...
So yeah, I saw Nazi Vengeance.
Do you know we went to Oktoberfest because there was a tent down by the bus station, which sounds a lot more classy than it is. A lot more classy than it actually sounds. And we both got a currywurst, and it wasn't a currywurst. It was like a huge, big German sausage. This is true, but like with some kind of tomato sauce on it.
It was vaguely spicy.
But it's not curry. I had actual currywurst when I was in Germany. I had some in Berlin, and we actually. We stopped like literally at the shops that were right across from the Holocaust Memorial, and we got currywurst, and we really wanted to go down into the Holocaust Memorial, but it would have been a 40-minute wait, and our two professors who were with us were like, let's go to the Berlin Mall instead. We're like, we don't want to go to the mall, but we ended up going to the mall. While we were on our way, speaking of Nazis and Berlin, while we were on our way, we were on our way to this big mall in Berlin. We realized that we didn't have our lecturers with us, and we're like, oh no, we've lost the professors. So we like backtracked, and so we were there in Berlin on St. Patrick's Day, and it was me and our two professors and a whole bunch of us from second year psychology. And so one guy was like at the top floor of this block of flats. It was a whole bunch of them. They were out on their balcony wearing like big inflatable Guinness hats, and they're like, oh, St. Patrick's Day, and of course, like, we're all like, oh, we're Irish. Okay, I wasn't like that, but, you know,
I'm going to be Irish probably sometime.
Well, no, one of the guys with us is from Donegal, and he said he was trying to get a Republic team jersey with a proclamation on the back, but it didn't arrive in time. So we're like, oh, hi, St. Patrick's Day. But then we backtracked and we found our professors who were still standing outside that block of flats, and like, do you know what this block of flats is? That's apartment building for Americans, because now I'm speaking UK speak. We're like, no, and like, they built this on Hitler's bunker. And we were like, no way! Because the car park, there was like a little monument that said, or a little thing that said, this is where Hitler's bunker was. So we raised it and built a car park in a block of flats so people wouldn't come and stare.
Yeah, they wanted to make sure it didn't become a shrine to neo-Nazis. They filled the whole bunker with concrete.
Yeah. And so then we were talking about that when we were at dinner, because we went to Pizza Hut that night because Suzanne had never been to Pizza Hut.
And they built that on top of Goebbels' bunker.
No, the Pizza Hut was in downtown. But then we were like, wouldn't that suck if you lived in an apartment? You like get up in the morning to like, you know, get a soda out the fridge, and there's like Hitler's ghost sitting at the table and doing Sudoku.
I'd be like, wuss.
I'd be like, would you piss off? Shut up, I was here first. It would be like
you were down there first.
It would be like The Odd Couple, just like really politically incorrect.
I don't know. I didn't share a room with Hitler's ghost. You know, it could be an opportunity.
Never shared a room with Hitler's ghost.
No, I would.
Oh,
I would not mind if the ghost that haunted my place was Hitler, simply so I could yell at him for a while.
I would want like.
It would be really funny to. It would be really funny to be gay and like have interracial couple friends being around. You know, who are wandering around being naked and things like that. It would annoy him. It would be hilarious.
Hitler's ghost.
I'd buy menorahs and you know, tie them to the walls just to bother him.
No, you have to do it right. You have to do Hanukkah right. Then you can't just have a menorah. You have to do it right.
Do you think he cares? He just like it bothers him because it's Jewish.
Well, no, because then you're cultural appropriation if you're putting menorahs on the wall.
And then if depending on what kind of ghost Hitler is, if he's some sort of tangible, then you know I could create him like a yarmulke or whatever, and then puts it onto his head, and he'd like be all upset by that, and it's just until he goes away.
If I had a ghost, I wouldn't want Hitler. I'd want somebody from like an olden time, because there are people alive now who were alive during the 30s and 40s. You could just ask them how things were. I would want somebody like from the Dark Ages to be like, were things really how we think it is? They'll be like, no, it actually wasn't all that awful. Let me tell you what.
That'd be fascinating. But the moral of the story is that
If you ever see Hitler's ghost,
reactionaries are really easy to irritate. And if he's a ghost and he's just floating around being Hitler, then I assume, and he's not actually trying to destroy anything, then I assume that he's pretty powerless because, you know, if he was a ghost and he had ghost powers...
He couldn't, like, corporeally affect things.
Yeah, so that's what we're basing. If it was like a Ghostbusters thing where it could actually do shit, then, you know, Hitler's ghost, I'm pretty sure, would try to do something. So the fact that he's not doing that indicates that he's either, like, you know, really depressed or he can't do it.
Or you could have a ghost of, like, somebody...
You can bother him because reactionaries are really easy to annoy.
Or it would be nice to have, like, a ghost of somebody that you knew. Or that you didn't know. Like, I would like the ghost of my grandfather, my mom's dad, because he died.
That would get awkward.
Well, no, not, like, all the time. Like, I could summon him and, like, sit and chat.
Yeah, but what if he was on the toilet?
Well, he wouldn't need to be on the toilet because he's a ghost.
Ghost toilets?
No, there's no such thing as ghost toilets.
How do you know?
Why do I have to tell you there's no such thing as ghost toilets? You should know there's no such thing as ghost toilets.
How do you know? If we are hypothesizing the existence of ghosts and things like that, why is it ridiculous that there's no ghost toilets? I mean, we're making shit up already to begin with.
Well, because it doesn't seem like it would make sense. Because, like...
Ghosts don't make sense.
It would be like an... Yeah, but, alright, you have to think about everything in a framework. You know? Like, that's how I use... Whenever I write fantasy, that's how I use magic. In an actual, as if it were natural law applied to it. It's just a different kind of natural law.
I'm gonna quote John Landis.
I don't know who that is.
He's the guy who did American Werewolf in London.
Okay.
How do you kill a vampire?
Well, it depends on the kind of vampire. And it depends on...
Just name a couple of ways of how you kill a vampire. That are good ways that are kill most vampires. How do you kill them?
Cut the head off.
No. Kill a vampire any way you want to kill a vampire because you're writing a story because vampires don't exist, so therefore they can die any way you want.
No, but like...
Because you're writing it.
Yeah, but you should always... But here's the thing is, if you view things in a framework that exists within the matrix of the thing that you're writing, then if you have laws that govern it, then it's got to be consistent. It's a lot easier. Yeah, it's a lot harder to make continuity errors and make things that don't make sense. You have to retcon later.
It's got to be consistent. But you don't actually need to follow any base rules.
Like, I guess if you could say that if ghosts consumed something, you know, like some kind of energy or something like that, to sustain them, then they would have... It is technically possible that there would be a byproduct to be excreted.
Yeah.
Then there could be ghost toilets, but, like, I don't know, that just seems unlikely. Like, would they be able to use any... There have to be special ghost toilets, or could they just use your toilet?
Well, that's why if you're creating this sort of thing, you got to think about that. But
you know, I'm doing this podcast and discussing ghost toilets with you, and I could be writing my ethics proposal.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying. You the ghost toilets.
Well, to be fair, you know, ghosts don't exist.
That's
There's
true.
no evidence that ghosts exist. I don't find the idea of ghost toilets any more ridiculous than the idea of ghosts.
A lot of people I know...
I just threw them in there, but still.
A lot of people that I know believe in ghosts, and even when I explained to them about that super low frequency thing.
Yeah, a lot of people do believe in ghosts. And
they're like, no, see, because I started to feel really sick, and then I felt really cold all of a sudden, and all this other things and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what happens to your body when you're exposed to a super low frequency noise. And it can be being produced by something just nearby. That's like a lot of cases of haunted buildings and haunted houses. People are like, oh, I went in there and I just felt different. Yeah, because you were being affected by a super low frequency noise. And, like, the two girls that I go to uni with, like, the one who doesn't believe in lab-created water, she wouldn't believe me. And I'm like, Google it, look. And, like, so I brought up the wiki, and I'm, like, bringing up all these sources of, like, you know, oh, people thought that this building was haunted and all this kind of stuff, and they discovered a fan in the basement that was making the super low-frequency noise, or, you know, proximity to an airport or something like that. And I was like, see? Science.
Does she still believe in ghosts?
Oh, I don't talk this term.
We've got to tell her that I'm pretty sure the Bible doesn't support ghosts.
No, we haven't spoken this term.
Okay.
For other reasons, but anyway.
Sorry about the cars. There's cars. They
I don't
exist.
think the cars will be picked up.
No, that one would.
If you're in one of those cars, write the show. We'll be like, it was me.
But yeah, sorry if you feel insulted that I've been fairly dismissive about the idea of ghosts.
If you're a ghost, write the show.
In order for ghosts to exist, basically what we understand about a lot of different types of reality would have to be rewritten. I mean, like, I've seen a ghost. I still don't believe in them. I figure it's more likely that I was seeing the wrong thing. Or
I think
my eyes or my brain was going wrong.
I think you hallucinated.
Yeah.
Hallucinations are not as uncommon as people think.
Yeah.
I mean, I've hallucinated.
Yeah.
You know, I was a little kid at the time, but...
Like, maybe this is just, you know, brutal on my part, but I would say it's more likely that I was wrong or mistaken or hallucinating or something than it was for science, for various different types of science for several hundred years. They are wrong and I am right. I don't have that level of arrogance in me.
You have a lot of the diathesis and risk factors for psychosis.
Oh, thank you.
Well, no, a lot of people do, though. Like, okay, you've been bullied.
I'm a Malkavian.
No, that's not how that works. You've been bullied quite a bit. You know, for being gay and you know, for being a different religion and stuff like that.
This is true.
That is a really, really, really huge predictor of psychosis symptoms. And here's the thing. psychosis symptoms exist along a continuum. It's not just, oh, you're schizophrenic, oh, you're not. You know? Like, when stress and trauma are exacted on the brain, that causes a general factor of distress. Think of it as a brain made of glass, and there's all these pressures from all different sides. And that glass will eventually crack along common fault lines because brains are, I mean, there's significant individual differences, but structurally speaking, most brains are similar. So they would fracture along common fault lines. This is one of the new theories in psychosis research. Read Models of Madness or anything by Richard Bentel if you want to know more. But
I wibble.
No. But the thing I agree with you about is the fact that who you are is defined by your body and your brain. By the nerves and the neurons and the biochemical reactions and the electrical connections in your brain. It would be really nice to think that there's something that keeps your consciousness called the soul, but consciousness is just the feeling of what it feels like to be a brain. When the brain activity stops, when there is no longer electricity and biochemical reactions going on in your brain, life ceases. And your consciousness, who you are, ceases because the brain is inactive. And believe me, I'm kind of like, I want to take Carl Sagan's view on this. I would love to believe in an afterlife. I really would. That sounds really fantastic. I'm terrified of the loss of consciousness. I'm terrified of death. It would be really great to think. I would even, like a Christian person said to me once, well, you're going to end up in hell. I said, I'd be fine with that because I'd be conscious. I would be fine with a negative afterlife because it meant that there was an afterlife.
No, hell would be worse than oblivion.
Well, we're different. We have different ideas, but it would be great to believe that there's some place that you'll go and you'll see all of the people that you really love. That'd be great. That'd be wonderful. But I don't think it's so.
Yeah, as I understand it, the concept of the soul is one of the pretty much dead areas of...
Get it?
Yeah. It's pretty much dead areas of religious ideas, which... religious ideas being real, because of all of the research done on how the physical brain interacts with consciousness, like people's personality changing after brain damage. I'm pretty sure there's at least one case where the hemispheres are split and they have different religious views on different sides of their brain. So you get someone who's either is or hypothetically could be an atheist and a not atheist at the same time.
I don't think that's how that works. If you could find that study for me, I'd love to read it. It was probably a case study, right?
That one I have heard about. It might have been someone else, sort of. That might be entirely wrong, but hypothetically, if that sort of thing happened, you would have someone with. Basically, all the evidence suggests that the consciousness is the brain plus energy, whatever.
It is the feeling of what it feels like to be a brain, is how one of my professors explained it.
And there is literally no evidence that... Okay, if the soul exists, because you fuck up the brain and the personality changes, is the soul changing? Or is the soul entirely removed from what the brain is?
I think...
From your consciousness?
I think... And this is just probably a Catholic perspective. I think what I remember being told was that your soul is you, but it's not... It's like kind of like the superego and then plus, to take it Freudian. It's like the essence of you, but a perfected version of you. This is how Father Joe explained it.
Yeah, but you changes whenever the brain gets damaged.
Right, but this is just what the priest said. But what he said was like, when you go to heaven, you won't recognize people. And I said, but what's the point? And he was like, well, your soul will know that you knew them and knew that you loved them. But imagine if you got up to heaven, right? And I was like, aye. And he's like, and all your family and friends that had died, and you were like, oh, it's grand. And you're like, where's Bill? And you realize Bill wasn't there because Bill went to hell. And he said, you would feel upset. You would feel sad for Bill, and you would feel suffering because you wanted to see Bill and you never will. But there can't be any suffering in heaven. That's one of the things. So you wouldn't really be yourself. And I thought that sounded really kind of like a shit deal, because I mean, I always imagined it with dancing little baby cherubs, and like you could eat brownies whenever you wanted.
If that's the case,
puppies and kittens.
That's another reason why if that's the case, you're not in heaven.
And this is not actual Catholic doctrine. This is just what Father Joe said, so take that with a grain of salt.
If that's the case, you will never be in heaven, because the person that is you includes memory of Bill.
Heaven is designed as is conceptualized, at least again, this is what the priest at St. John Chrysostom told me, as complete union with God.
Yeah, but still, you are never going to enter heaven by his standards. You will not, because you includes the memory of Bill. It includes the friendship with Bill.
That's his thing. That like,
no one enters heaven.
Those things that were earthly are stripped off your soul. But that didn't make any kind of sense to me.
What enters heaven is something that resembles you in the same way that how do I put this? That RoboCop resembles Alex Murphy.
Well, I think it would kind of be like the motherboard, not the operating system.
It's not you. You're never going to enter heaven.
Well,
no one enters heaven.
That's the thing. It's like the soul is a thing unto its. It was really confusing. It's one of those metaphysical things that no one can really explain without using metaphors.
Before you brought that up, I was actually going to sort of segue into that argument, but you brought it up perfectly. But yeah, do not believe in ghosts. There is no evidence for it. There is no evidence.
What a downer of an episode this has been. That Nazis and there's no thing, and there's just oblivion after death.
Not even oblivion. Oblivion would be a thing.
That's true.
You know, so someone mentioned someone described life as a roller coaster or a party or whatever, and then the party's over. No, the party keeps going on.
You're over.
And you're over. Yes.
Oh God, I'm gonna start crying. This is really depressing. But I made a haggis pasta bake tonight, and it was really quite good. Oh Jesus! I don't even have any alcohol.
Is this one called the depressing episode?
Yes. Yeah, so called the depressing one. No, that's not depressing, really, I guess.
Well, it depends on how you look at things. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with all that, because it is...
No, I'm not. It's depressing.
It is... I maintain most religions' version of hell is far worse, because that's never-ending suffering. When you're living, and it's literally... It's like you're under anesthetic. You're not dreaming. You're not there.
Well, I mean, but
that's not exactly unpleasant. It's the process of getting there, the actual dying. That's the unpleasant part. Being gone entirely. That's to paraphrase or possibly quote Mark Twain. I was dead for millions of years before I was born, and it didn't bother me one bit.
I don't want it. I want to live forever. But besides, I mean, another thing about, being incorporeal is, if you are, you'll be burned in fires and tortured and have dogs eat your entrails forever. But, if you don't have a corporeal body, you can't really feel pain. So I guess, you could feel, psychological pain. I guess if you were, conscious but separated from everything and everyone, that would drive you mad.
I really wish he still had contact with Charlie Joe, because I'm guessing he's dead, though, now.
Father Joe? He was in his 50s.
Okay, so he
and
might
this
not
was
be
about
dead.
Maybe 15 years ago. So
okay, so he might be dead. Okay.
He might be dead.
He might be.
I don't think he's dead.
Perhaps he doesn't remember Bill now. But if he did, there's something I would love to ask him about, and I've completely forgotten what I was going to mention. Oh, God damn it.
Asking about Bill?
No. It's something about hell. I've completely forgotten. Yes, okay. You go to heaven, you would be suffering because Bill's not there, and you can't have suffering in heaven. Okay, that's his logic for why heaven's the way it is.
That's what he said.
Well, until very recently in Christianity, one of the doctrines, I don't know if it was ever official church doctrine, but it was incredibly common as a belief system, that the main form of entertainment for the people in heaven was to watch the suffering of hell.
That's really sadistic. That's terrible.
Yes, but it was for a long time.
I mean, the angels could do that because they could be sadistic, but
that was for a long time that was official thing. That's what you're going to do in heaven.
That would be depressing because, what if you feel real bad? Oh no, he's doing it again. Oh, he's being eaten by the dog again.
Yeah, but God is righteousness. God sent them to hell. That it is a good thing that they suffer.
No, because the thing is that you should have... well, anyway, this is what Father references.
Compassion, in this case, is not godly.
No, but you should have compassion for them because they're still your fellow man. Even if they're just souls, you should still have compassion for them because, like, what if, like, they didn't mean to end up in hell? Like, you don't know their story. You don't know their life.
No one means to end up in hell.
That's true.
You know, there's a bunch of Christians who like to tell you that,
Dracula, maybe. He'd have fun. He's been tweeting an awful lot of Satan stuff recently, so I think.
Well, Satanism generally is not actually belief in a literal devil.
Yeah, I know, but I think
Satanism that believes in a literal devil. But if you could think of, like,
any one of our friends who would be like, yeah, hell will be awesome, it would probably be Dracula. I mean, admit it.
Well, someone who's like that, who actually believes in a literal devil,
I don't know if
in
he
a
does
Christian framework,
I don't know if he does.
They would actually be a subset of Christianity because they would believe that in God, they would believe that Jesus is the Son of God. They just prefer the devil. That would be a type of Christian, technically. A very unusual type of Christian, but technically a type. But most people who are Satanists don't actually believe in a literal devil. Basically, it's theatrical flair plus atheism.
Yeah, like the American Church of Satan.
Yeah.
That just exists to troll and sue.
Yeah.
Which fair play.
But but no one intends to go to hell. But you have a bunch of Christians who like to tell you that people don't get sent to hell. God doesn't send them into hell. People send themselves to hell. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Okay, I die now. I'm not sending myself to hell. I'm going to stay right here, or I'm going to go to heaven. I'm going to walk into heaven. Will God bar the gates and force me not to get into heaven?
Well, it depends on.
Will I walk into hell deliberately?
It depends on.
Not fucking likely.
On which version of Christianity.
Yeah, I'm not saying all Christians say this, but I come across this statement all the time because this is a very common way to defend themselves against claims of God being cruel is to say that people send themselves to hell. And I'm like, no. No one sends themselves to hell. That's fucking stupid.
Well, it's common sense again. It's like, oh, well, you're gay, so you'll go to hell automatically, even though you donate to charity and you, like, save children out of...
going automatically. That's God sending you.
And stuff like that. But then, like, then some people will be like, yeah, I'm a serial killer, I just killed 17 people. Like, I don't know, I just think that there's a difference there.
Yeah, well, being a serial killer doesn't send you to hell automatically.
No, but, like, killing people is bad. You shouldn't do it. That's, like, obviously sinful behavior. Oh my god, stop uploading things.
Well, according to Christianity, being a serial killer is equal in sinning to being gay, at least depending on your version of Christianity.
It's a mortal sin.
Yeah, all sins are equal except for the unforgivable one, and that's fucking bullshit.
Well, there's venial sins, like being a dick. I mean, not literally being a dick, but...
Yeah, but they all send you to hell. Like, they come up with little hierarchies inside that,
because that's not the way. How it was explained to me is, if you die with a mortal sin on your soul, unconfessed, you go to hell. If you die with venial sins on your soul, you'll go to purgatory until you've worked them off. If you die with confessed mortal sins on your soul, you'll still go to purgatory, and you'll be there for longer than the people who just had venial sins.
Okay, this is a bit where
Catholicism is different than Protestantism.
So I don't
know.
Possibly I'm describing Protestantism, which is a bit unfair.
Your mileage may vary.
But yeah, point still stands. No one deliberately goes to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And it's God who's sending you to hell. And so God is cruel if that happens.
Aye. And it's been nearly an hour we've been talking. We haven't even told them about our new favorite takeaway yet.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Do you want to tell them about the new favorite takeaway?
It's the place that sells the most depressing things. It makes you want to slit your wrist.
No, it doesn't. It's one of the guys who used to work at Mama Masala's, which is an Indian Italian fusion place that's really great, but it's quite expensive.
Really expensive.
So he's started his own splinter place.
The People's Republic of Casey.
Yeah. And it's great because they're open till 2 in the morning. They have, like, a cheaper menu after 11 in the evening. It used to be free delivery, but it's not anymore. But they have that amazing onion dip sauce that I like. And you can just get really great stuff there. We'll be getting there quite a bit.
For the equivalent of about $6, or actually, very thanks to Brexit, very quickly coming to $4 because the pound is getting, crapper and crapper.
Fair play.
You get an entire giant box full of rice, naan bread, or chips of your choice with doner meat, which is lamb, with various types of chicken,
Or you
with
can
various
get it
types
with
of
chicken.
sauce. You can get, but it's huge. It's like several pounds.
And I got it last
meat.
time, and I got it with none, so technically it's just a big kebab, but like, I said only a little bit of garlic sauce, and they put a huge, and you know what garlic sauce is? Is basically, they should call it what it is, it's garlic flavored mayonnaise. But I was like, oh, I spent 4 pounds and I ate it all, and I described the next day, I was like, so my supervisor was like, so you're feeling a bit ill? I'm like, it's not so much that I want to puke, I said. It's more like, I want to go back in time to before I made this decision.
Point is, for not very much, you can get enough for like 2 meals.
Or like, you can get like curry pasta, which is so nice and lovely.
Yeah, choose your type of curry. They will add pasta to it.
I actually never got
awesome.
their pizza. I wonder if it's alright, but that's the other big development in our lives besides getting a flat.
Because our flat is really far from any takeaways. The closest one's like 15-minute walk.
Sorry, it's a 10-minute walk.
50.
You walk slower than me.
I'm sorry.
But that's our lives. So
We're very depressed. We're gonna kill ourselves.
no,
now.
we're not. Halloween's coming up
No,
soon.
sorry. We'll kill each other.
No, we're not gonna do that either.
Well, that way it's not a mortal sin. You see, you get forgiven for
I
it.
don't care. I can't kill myself until I get to the doctorate program. At least. And then I would have worked for nothing.
Okay.
Tell you what. But that's been us. That's been your bright and cheerful lesbian talk. I have been the Omega, and honey, who do you have want to have been this week?
Someone who is reincarnated as a Nazi, probably.
Hitler's ghost. Well, who was that guy who used to say, like, great Hitler, not great Hitler's ghost, but wasn't there some old-timey character be like, oh, great, not great
Great
Scott.
Caesar's ghost.
Yes, great Hitler's ghost. That's gonna be maybe this episode's title. Either that or
The
Mystery
depressing
Game Modes.
one.
No, I don't like the depressing one. So we'll see you guys next time.
Doctor Strange is coming out next week.
We get to see it first.
We're getting about a week and a half ahead of America, so expect that probably to be the next Backseat Critique.
Yep. Well, we'll see you guys next time.